Morning, everybody. It is 8:10 a.m. It is September 17th. Welcome to my channel. Now, yesterday we got what I thought would happen. We got kind of a range-bound market. The market was kind of fooling everybody. I mean, I saw internals; they weren't that weak. And really, what was the case yesterday? Um, if you look at the one indicator that I like to use, not the one, but my market internals indicator here. I'll just pull it up to show you exactly why I love this thing right here. All right, so I just want to show you guys when yesterday opened up. Just a brief description, right? Here's this, I call it the WAD, the weighted AD indicator. All right, this white line is basically an equal weight. Like think of like an RSP. It's not a market cap weighted index. It's equal weight, right? It treats all stocks the same. So you can see here that equal weight was very weak compared to the market cap weight. These are the bars, right? And this is not bearish, all right? Because the market cap stocks is what moves the market. So as soon as the equal weight started to catch up, that's when the market caught a bid. This is why I wasn't shorting. Okay, just wanted to show you guys that. So yeah, this morning now, got to tell two different markets. All right. So this morning you have ES is gapping up, Nasdaq's gapping up. All right. And you have ultimate balance in both of them. All right, we'll get into that in a little bit. But Nasdaq is just relatively weak. It's not by the all-time highs, and the SPY is very close to all-time highs. Not in futures, but in the SPY. So it should be an interesting day, and FOMC is tomorrow. It should be very interesting. Now, I did roll over my futures contracts to the next contract. More volume now is in that next contract, so I rolled it over, changed all my levels. So all my levels today will be different than they were yesterday because it's back adjusted. I don't use a continuous contract, I use back adjusted. So that's the levels you'll be seeing today. All right. All right, let's get started here. Welcome to my channel. My name is Steven Gonzalez. I use market profile and volume profile to find structure in the markets along with gamma exposure levels, supply and demand, the most traded price of the year, the month, the week, the previous day. That's my edge. Okay. That's how I read the markets. And that's my structure. That's my base. Okay. That's my home base foundation. All right. And of course, once the market opens, like you saw my internals that I look at, that's where I really go and lean on one of my long and trade short scenarios that I put here, right? So every day, right? Hopefully you guys can join me. All right, you can join me, and every day at 8:10 a.m. I do this, and I recap yesterday. We go over market news, economic calendar, what's moving the markets this morning, leaders and laggards, upgrades, downgrades. Then we go into daily charts, and then at 8:30 a.m. around that time, I do the main event. That is when I analyze futures, ES and Nasdaq, and that sets up my long and trade short scenarios for the day. I do it live with you. I haven't done it before. I do it live. As soon as I go to it, it's the first time I'm analyzing it. I do it with you guys. Okay, I do it with you guys. So, like I said, have a cup of coffee, tea, whatever you want to do. Sit back if you're in your car, whatever. You get the summary from your boy here. All right. And all right, if you enjoy my content, smash the like button. That would be much appreciated. All right. You can also follow me at X at Gonzo719. Okay. And I do my trades, my day trades. I do videos of them, the ones that I feel that are important and you can really get education off them. So check out my YouTube shorts and of course TikTok Gonzo719 Trader. All right. I think we can get right into the futures watch list now. See what's going on here. See what we have cooking here. All right, Bitcoin catching a little bit of a bid today. Let's check it out. Bitcoin's up 2.17%. Ether's up 1.49. Nasdaq's up 0.56. Crude, like I said, bottoming. Now I rolled crude over too. I rolled crude over. So crude, I'm liking it. I just need to do a little more work. All right. Russell's up 0.50. ES up 0.36. Dow is up 0.28. 30-year bonds up 0.22. The dollar is pretty much flat. Silver is pretty much flat too, down 0.03. Gold the same, pretty much flat, hovering around at 2600. 10-year yields continue to fall. 10-year yields continue to fall. People are buying bonds. We're about to do a rate cut. Tomorrow is right now the market thinks it's going to be a 50-point cut. That's pretty aggressive. Now, if that happens, I don't know. I don't. That's that. If the Fed wants to do 50, the first one, you have to question, is something broken, right? So you have to think about it. Sometimes with cuts, you get a rise because people feel like, oh, we're getting cuts. But generally, cuts mean that something might be broken, and you want to get ahead of it. So really not sure what's going to happen. You never know how the market's going to handle it. All right. Then VIX is down 0.41. We're at a 17 VIX. All right. I expect that to stay around there before FOMC. All right. Let's move on to the Mag 7 Plus. All right. Now Microsoft is up 1.8. Now why is that? Because they just announced a 50 billion in buyback repurchase program. So the market likes that. Okay. Coinbase, obviously in sympathy with Bitcoin's up 1.64, AMD up 0.91, Nvidia up 0.86, Broadcom's up 0.81. Now remember, semis were weak yesterday. Okay. Amazon up 0.79. Now Amazon's in news with Intel. They're getting together to build their AI chips. So that's finally some good news for Intel. Google's up 0.65, Tesla up 0.55. So all green here. Right. Now the only little red here is Apple, down 0.15, which is not much. Okay. Moving on to the top sector stocks here. We got Qualcomm. Actually, they got a price target lower today. Doesn't matter. Semis are getting love. Up 0.55. Uber's up 0.38. Morgan Stanley up 0.31. Costco's up 0.29. Laggard. It's not much of a laggard. Johnson & Johnson, Procter & Gamble are laggards, really. Let's move on to the swing trade list. Let's see the leaders here. Intel, like I said, partnering with Amazon's up 7%. Can this propel this stock? Because it's been beaten. Don't know. But it's not a bad thing, obviously, to partner with Amazon. Shopify's got an upgrade. They're up 3%. Dell also getting love. Upgrade, price target raise. And then MicroStrategy I saw is doing some convertible notes. Plus, obviously, Bitcoin is up. Bitcoin ETF up as well. This is all Bitcoin related. Mara, Riot. Now, Palantir I just saw got some kind of new contract for AI or something like that. Look at Baba, up 1.56. ARM Semi. Unity Software's up 1.38. Carvana up 1. Lucid, SoundHound, CrowdStrike up 1%. Affirm up 1%. All right, Micron's up 1%. All right. Let's look at laggards. There's not a lot of them. Team, Atlassian, they're down 2.51%. I'm not sure why right now. Marvel, Semi, down 0.95. Donald Trump down 2.93. That's really it. Not a lot of laggards today. Okay, not a lot of laggards today. Moving on to the guts sector. Let's see here. Let's see what we have here. Semis now. Remember, semis were down 1% yesterday. Now they're up 1%. So that's risk on, up 1.01%. Technology, the heaviest weighted sector in the market in the SP 500, is up 0.78. All right, so you don't. I mean, the market's will have a very hard time to go lower. Okay, if XLK is hot. All right, followed by discretionary. Obviously XLK is Microsoft and Apple. Those are the largest holdings there. There's no laggard, all right, this morning. There's none to speak of. Okay. All right, let's go move on to some economic calendar. All right, so market news. We'll start off with the economic calendar here. I don't know who we have with us today. If you're new, say hi. If you're old, say hi. If there's nobody, I guess no one's saying hi, but welcome. All right, let's go over the economic calendar here. Tuesday today, 8:30, we have retail sales. Retail sales today, 8:30. 9:15 industrial production, 10 a.m. business inventories, and we of course could get some fireworks here. Fed Logan speaking at 10 a.m. and then you got NHAB housing market index at 10 a.m. So 10 a.m. Not sure how much this is going to move. I mean, Fed Logan could say one thing and could move markets. Um, so unless there's a super A plus plus setup before 10 a.m., probably going to sit tight and we'll let this noise, if there's any noise from this, happen. Okay, that's about it for that. As far as news, like I just spoke about, let's look at it here. Intel, all right, I told you about the Amazon partnership. Microsoft, I told you about the 60 billion. Actually, I said 50 billion, 60 billion, and it's raised its dividend. All right, Walmart stock rose 0.3 after Morgan Stanley noted that the retail giant's membership soared to a record high in August, according to its survey. That's about it there. Financial juice, don't really have anything there. Let's look here. Let's see. We talked about Microsoft. It says exclusive U.S. retailer holiday hiring set to be lower than last year. U.S. retailers will hire fewer seasonal workers this holiday season than last year due to a softer labor market and tighter consumer spending heading into the crucial shopping period. Interesting. All right, Meta bans RT and other Russian state media networks. Boeing still negotiations with their largest union. Let's see what else here. There's nothing to note of that I didn't talk about. Now Tupperware, looks like Tupperware. Uh, this is Rosita's favorite company. There, it looks like they're filing for bankruptcy. Let's see what else here. All right, I think that's about it. We can go to upgrades, downgrades. All right, let's see if they put this in here for Shopify yet. Yep. All right. So let's look at upgrades. Who we got here? Upgrades. Let's see here. Hewlett Packard upgrade. Shopify, there's the upgrade. Price target 99, neutral to a buy. That's about it there. Let's go to downgrades. Downgrades to note. Let's see. This VSAT. All right. Let's see. Initiations. All right. There's Dell at outperform initiation. Okay. Lightspeed, a buy. Super microcomputers, neutral. All right. Let's go to price targets. Let's go to raises first. Let's see here. That's about it there. Target lowered. Space, Virgin Galactic, target lowered. Airbnb, target lowered. All right. Now I know there's more than price targets than that I just showed. We can get into that right now. Let me just show you guys that. All right, let's see here. There's price target changes here. Let's go here. There's that space one, but let's see here, up here. Micron, Airbnb, Qualcomm. Not that important. I think that's going to wrap up what we've been talking about. All right, so I think we can go daily charts now. Let's do that. Remember, the main event tomorrow is FOMC. It's really all that matters. Today, like I said, this market's kind of interesting today. because we're breaking out before FOMC. Okay, let's move over to daily charts. All right, let's see what we have here. Very close to all-time highs. 565.16 is all-time highs. Okay, this right here is last week's highs. That's where we found resistance yesterday. Last week's highs. Okay, so we kind of opened here and then made some lows, got bought up, closed right there. Where are we at now? 564.90. 564.90 is gapping up. Now that is going over last month's highs. That's where we are right now. These white lines are monthlies. That's last month's highs. Right here at this resistance of this consolidation. Okay. So we're in supply right now. You'll see in the ES. Now let's look at the live look of futures. You can see this resistance here. Now in futures, that will be around 5668. Let me make sure that's the wrong contract. Let me change this contract to Z24. To Z24. Boom. There we go. With the new levels here. So 5730, let's call it, is big time resistance. 5730 is big time resistance. I'm going to change. Just making sure I'm changing these contracts so I give you guys accurate information here. Okay, let's go look at the Qs. So here's the Qs. Now you can just see the relative weakness here in the Qs, right? All-time highs is 503.52. We're not even by that. There's a trend line here, right? You can see that, very clear to see that trend line. Now what did we do yesterday? Look what we did. Opened up, pushed, pulled back to 20 moving average in the 50-day moving average. Bought up right on those moving averages, right there. Okay. Now notice NASDAQ didn't even touch last week's highs. That's where this trend line is. All right. Now let's see. It is also gapping up. We're at 476 right now. 476. So we're right at this trend line. Okay. Right at the trend line, you look to the left, that's also been resistance in the past, right? 476, 477. That's the level to watch today. It's the level to watch. Okay. Let's look at the live look of futures with the new contract. Right. Now you can see, look at the NASDAQ. It's coiling up like in a little balance area, right? The ES is not doing that. So right here around 198, that's resistance. Now if you look to the left, you also have resistance here, 199.17, 199.17. So if you break that, you probably get stopped there, right? Ultimately, last month's highs up here at 202.59. So you really have to see. You can see here the 50-day moving average, 20-day moving average on futures right there. Okay. So this is, the NASDAQ is not broken out of this little consolidation like the ES. See, the ES had this 2 days, and boom, we're pushing up. We're not in this little balance here, but then we got a big resistance area here. Woohoo! Right? Like I just talked about, 57.30. 57.30, big time resistance. Okay. Now, let's move on to the triple-headed monster. And look at that 10-year. 10-year is falling out of bed a little bit here. You can see the swing low here, way below that. And it's people are buying bonds. Why? Fed's about to cut rates and continue to cut rates. Okay? Yields should fall. That's what's happening. Okay? This is your triple-headed monster. Okay? So yields are falling. Fed's about to cut, starting cutting, right? And they're going to continue to cut. This is just how it works. All right, let's look at that dollar. Remember that dollar was falling apart a little bit. Still at this level, right? It's got to break this 151, that swing low all the way to the left here. Okay. Remember I said that yen is moving. That yen is moving. We have to be very, now that I don't, it's kind of crazy that the Japan carry trade, the yen carry trade. All right, let's look at that yen. Sparks so much fear in this market here, and we're above it. We're above that level. So it's funny that this spooked the market, and now we're here. We're right here, actually. I don't know. I feel like it might rear its head again, but I don't know. It's not really doing it right now, but that's kind of crazy. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see about that. All right. Let's end it with the VIX. Now the VIX, we're at a 17.11. VIX, if you watch me every day, remember that's just 30 days out of fear, 1 month, and a 16 VIX is a 1% plus or minus expected move in the S&P 500. So volatility's here, but the movement's a little wonky because everybody's rolling over in futures. All right, so you have a split. Now the contract, December contract that I rolled over into started to have more volume, but it's split between the other volume. So people are rolling over. So very interesting. Okay. Now, get that out of the way. Now let's go to the main event here. All right. Let's do it. All right. Give me 1 second while we do that. Boom. Here we are. Main event time. All right. Can even make this bigger. Okay. So let's look at this together. All right. Let me get my marker out. All right. You can see we're gapping up big time here. All right. Big time. All right. Now, let's look at our rolling weeks profile. All right. So here we go. Starting down here. And then we got value area here. 70% of the trade. And we got thin right here. Okay. So it looks like you got excess, right? And if you really want to like round it out, it's kind of a bell curve, right? Kind of, you can look at that like, okay, that's a move that's been completed, right before FOMC. Now we are in supply zone right here. Okay. That's where we are. Now, the market did do its job, move the most traded price of the week up 56.90. It happens to be, let's call it 56.96. All right, is the most traded price of the month. So right here is ultimate balance. Okay, whenever you have the most traded price of the rolling week and the rolling month, and they're together, that means that's the fairest price and the most contracts have traded there. Okay, so the farther you move away from that area, it's going to cause pain. There's going to be a big move. Now, this is a test. This is a little test out of this area. Okay, you need to see if it gets continuation. All right, so I don't fully trust this before FOMC. Maybe people are baking in that it's going to be 50 and they like it. Now remember, like I said, 50 could be a yes for the markets, but then ooh, maybe not later on, right? Because maybe something's broken. Okay, but I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't matter. We got to see what price does. It doesn't matter what I think. Okay. Now yesterday, let's go over yesterday really quickly. Remember I talked about yesterday, and I didn't think we would really go far much lower. So look what we did. Push down right into this demand. That was all she wrote. And we closed up here, just like I said, right? I said, I don't think we could. Yesterday it was like 56.36, I think the level was. But now that I rolled the contracts over, that's kind of like 5,700. It couldn't break it, right? But then what does it do? It goes ahead and break it in the overnight, all right? So, like I said, ultimate balance, all right? Ultimate balance. Big moves happen from ultimate balance. So let's talk about what levels I'm looking at. So right now we're gapping up. Now, whenever you have these large gap ups, they're not the easiest to trade. They're just not. All right, real quick, we'll go over gap rules. All right, so we have our high 57. No, and just to let you know, in futures, gaps aren't from the close; they're from the highs and lows. So 57.0250 is our gap fill. That's yesterday's highs. Okay, price is up here, 57.23. We're in supply. Just to let you know, this right here is a naked VPOC. What is a naked VPOC? All it is a previously most trader price of a day that's never been tested. Now, this doesn't count as tested because it's the overnight session, but that's where these red little rectangles that I have are naked VPOCs that never been tested. Okay, so the market hit that, and right now it's acting as resistance, but that's where we're at now. So let's just go over gap rules. All right, how do I look at gap? Right, right. How do I look at it? So we're gapping up. And what I want to see is there's three things. The most bullish is a gap and go. Now we do have a gap above us that is unfilled. Okay, unfilled gap right above us. Right now, gap and go is the most bullish. Number one, most bullish. Number two is you pull back. You fail to fill the gap and you go higher. Number three is you fill the gap and you get bought up and you go higher, right? Those are all bullish. Now, what if we start going back into range? There you go. That just means buyers aren't that strong. That's how you gauge gaps, okay? Now, in this case, all right, when you're gapping up, a couple things to know here. 57.0875 is the midpoint of this gap. That's the 50% retracement of this gap. Write that down, 57.08. Okay, that's 50% retracement of this move up, this gap. You want to see how the market reacts there. Now we do have single prints, which is emotional buying. Okay, a little strip of single prints here. All right, a lot of nuggets today. Okay, what else do we have today? Inventory, let's check it out. The market opened here. This is the only short activity to this much long activity, right? That's about 85 to 90% net long in the overnight. Now, overnight longs are weak hands. They are not big boys. They're weak. Okay, so if you look at this market from here, you got longs getting paid, 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 right? And we have a big event coming tomorrow. All right, big event coming tomorrow. And we're at the top. This is beautiful. All right, this is setting up nice for a little fade. All right, why is that, right? I just showed you that inventory is net long about 90%, and we're long in just the market itself. Now, what else is in our favor? We're at the top of this session. What else is in our favor? We are in supply. Okay, so these are longs. That's the most traded price of the overnight. The farther you go away from that, longs will cover. They'll have to liquidate their positions. They'll have to liquidate. So it's pretty nice for a fade. Now you don't have, once you push through this, this is where the single prints and the thin, you can see the thin volume here. That is not good structure. Okay, that is not good structure. Now, if you're new to the channel and you haven't met my elephant, whenever you have this foundation, this little, I call it a toothpick. It's like a toothpick holding up an elephant. Let's bring up Elfie. There he is. Now, can a toothpick hold up an elephant for long? No. That's why I had that. All right, let's get into levels. We got our 5708 midpoint. Okay, we know we're in supply. Okay, now what do we have here? We have a weak low right here. This overnight low lines up with the most traded price of the week. Okay, you lose that, you probably revisit the bottom of this little balance area here. Okay. Gap fill 5702 is also the important level. All right. Now we can talk about scenarios. Let's do it. We'll start off with the bull. All right. We start off with the bull scenario. All right. Let's do it. All right. Now, I like to give my trade scenarios because I don't, if this gap one goes, that goes without me. That is not something I don't chase. All right. So we already talked about it could. And there is a gap above us. Okay. Now, if I'm bullish, what I would like to see is this. Okay. Market's here. All right. I would like to see it take out the supply, maybe even tap the top of this, the bottom of the gap, get some corrective action here. All right. Now, either this is going to come back. Now, actually could, I'll be honest with you, come back to the most traded price. So overnight, that also could find support and move it up and fill that gap. That gap fill is probably around 57.53. Okay. Second, it could also pull back. And remember, I said this could correct. Right? Correct. Now where? You go right to the gap fill, 5702. And even if you touch and dip into this demand zone here, and you start basing and higher lows, well, guess what? You come up and fill that gap. Okay. This is what I would really just be interested in. Okay. The other one would be this. This would probably be more of a bear trap. It would scare more people. Would be, okay, you come up and you push down and you actually go through these ultimate balance levels. But you do this. Whoop. Hold. That also will go up. But you need to show me you're not going to accept value down here. I will not just long that because this is a big level. Okay. That needs to recover quickly. It can't hang out here. Okay. That's all I'm seeing there. Right now, as far as shorts, bear side. Remember, this fade is very tasty here. Okay. Very tasty. We talked about the week low at 56, what did I call 56.90. 56.90 right here. Remember, bulls need to defend this area. Okay. Now, remember, we're flipping the script here. We're talking about bear. Okay. We have supply zone and a big time resistance at 57.30 up here. Okay. We're setting it up here. Most traded price of the overnights here. We know the overnight inventory is about 90% long, and we know longs have been getting paid. We're setting up the crime scene here. Okay. So there's a lot why I like the fade. It's not easy. It's not easy. Okay. But that's all in our favor. All right. So what I would like to see, okay, push up maybe even tap that gap. Remember, this is kind of inverse. Remember my long scenario, right? You tap that gap and you start coming down. I want to see what you do with 57.20, the most traded price of the overnight. If you cut through it, and this is why it's hard, because it could be quick, and you hold a little bit, you're gonna rip down through this weak foundation. That single prints here. You're gonna rip right down to that gap fill. Now that could be it. Remember the bull case. Gap fill, you could get bought. Remember, this is bear. All right, now for the bears, what you want to see is to take these big levels out. Okay. If you do this, this will be considered a look above and fail. And you cut under this, hold, hold, hold. Remember, I don't want to see acceptance in the bull case, but you do in the bear case. You will go down here. You will test yesterday's lows, 5669, 5665 from the past, this demand. Now you could come into this demand and pop out. Okay. If the market gets really spooky, you break this. Oh boy. See this pocket of volume here? See this weak volume here? Again, picture this is the elephant and this is the toothpick holding up that, right? So put up Elfie again. There he is. Now, this is not prediction. This is not a prediction at all. But it could get pretty crazy here. You go all the way down to this level. Now, what do I think? If we do this and it's around 2, 3 o'clock, I could definitely see the market ripping back up into range for FOMC. Okay? That is what I'm seeing right now. Hope everybody understood that. All right, now let's move on to the NASDAQ. And then you're going to see the NASDAQ is different. Okay? Different. It's not even breaking out of that range. Okay? It's not even breaking out of that range at all. Make this easier to see. Now we are also in ultimate balance in the NASDAQ. Okay? Right here. The NASDAQ also brought the most traded price of the week up. Ultimate balance. Now check this out. The NASDAQ is in ultimate balance. It hasn't broke out of it like the ES. This is why NASDAQ is relatively weak. Okay, it's relatively weak. So we are gapping up though. I'm not going to go over gap rules again because I already went over those. Okay, look at the profile. Okay, got a little bit of an extension here. But now these levels, right? 197.79, and what's this one? Like 197.48. This is just ultimate balance. Okay, big moves happen from ultimate balance. Now for me, this is setting up. A lot of times what happens before big data, they form ultimate balance, and then this gives FOMC the catalyst will just make these moves more exaggerated because more pain is going to happen because everybody's agreeing that this price is fair. Okay? But you can see the big difference in the markets. Okay? This is right in balance. It's a horrible kind of trade location to be because it's like a chop suey, chop zone right here. Okay? You want to see the market either hold this level above it to move higher or under it to be confident. When you're in here, oof, could be choppy. Okay? Could be choppy. Now, let's look at some levels together. All right, some levels to note. All right, we have a week high here. Let's call from 198.12 to 198.20. This area also lines up with the most traded price of the month. Okay, so this level right here. Let me just make that cleaner here. This level right here. All right, that's a week high. That could be a breakout point. Now, but what do you have here? Supply zone right here. That doesn't make me excited to just go all out long unless the market is super, super strong. That doesn't make me excited for that. Okay. That's what we have. Okay. We're right, like I said, in ultimate balance. Okay. We're gapping up. So here's the gap fill. 196.97 would be gap fill. We have our little single prints here. That's when that move made, just like in the ES. Now, let's look at inventory. Opened here. That's the short activity to this much long activity. So again, we're about 90% net long. All right. 90% net long. Now you notice the NASDAQ had a deep pullback yesterday. Deep pullback. So this level that I talked about yesterday was taken out. Remember I talked about this level? That got taken out. Okay. So we got a demand zone here, but this level is just a monster. Monster. Okay. So if the NASDAQ can't get over this, this is also another reason that ES fade could happen too, right? Because it's battling this big level. Okay. So this is, we got different scenarios that we could talk about here because of this level. All right. Let's get right into it. This will be our NASDAQ long and short scenarios. Hope this is making sense to everybody, okay? Again, if you have a question, throw it in chat, make a comment, I will answer it. Okay? I will answer it. Okay, let's go talk about the bull. All right, we got to talk about that bull case. So, what do we have? Here's our gap fill. Okay, we have demand here. Demand here. Okay? We are, like I said, 90% net long. Most trader price up here. What I can see, market pushes up, comes through it, all right? And this is one opportunity, okay? If it comes down, hits the gap fill, maybe even dips into the demand, higher low, I think we'll try to test that overnight high and maybe work ourselves into supply. Okay? Now, what's another scenario that I have to talk about? This big level, all right, the only thing that I would like about this big level is, let's say we gap and gold. What I would like to see is take out the supply, pull back, and now this becomes new support. Well, then maybe we move up. That's one, because I want to see us establish value above this level. Now, we have our FOMC tomorrow. So, like I said, I don't know how much people just want to be all out long before that big announcement. But that's about all I'm interested in for a long here. Okay? Like I said, this is a pretty big supply zone, so I don't like longing in supply at all. It's not very high probabilities with that. Okay? Let's talk about short side. Now, I have to be honest, the short in the NASDAQ looks pretty nice because of this big level. You also have supply. You can see it tipped into this supply zone and found selling in the overnight. Now remember, overnight inventory is 90% net long. Okay? You got longs here. Beautiful is you got the most traded price of the overnight right here, about 197.88. These are longs, folks. And we just hit supply. We are in ultimate balance. These levels, if they act as resistance, right, and you do this, whoop, we're testing the gap. Okay? So, this could look like this. Come right up into supply. Come right through the open. If you cut through that most traded price hit overnight and you hold below it, remember, thin volume right here, and you come through, you're going to fill the gap and probably test this demand zone. All right? If the market is super weak and you wind up cutting through demand and kind of holding here, we can maybe test the most trader price of yesterday and yesterday's low, 195.29. If 195.29 takes it out, we're going to go down and test here. What is that? 119,420 it looks like right here. Okay. Now, let's talk about it again. And again, I don't know if this is in the cards, but I have to talk about it. This is the elephant, right? Here's toothpick. Now notice this day. There's single prints in these white boxes all the way down. Let's bring out Elfie to illustrate. There's a toothpick holding up this elephant. Okay, so if we break this and we start getting weak, we're gonna rip all through these single prints. This is in a very weak market. Does that happen today? I don't know. I have to put it out there though, because this would ramp up selling down here. Ramp it up. Okay. Now, just to give you an example with these single prints, let's say we came down here and we found support right there. Well, I think we'd probably go back up. So that's the scenarios today, folks. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed that. Got something out of it. Gives you somewhat of a plan today. Again, they're not lined together, so that makes the market harder to read because the Nasdaq didn't break out over this ultimate balance. It's in the chop zone, but ES has gapped up above ultimate balance. So the markets are disconnected. You can even see it on the daily chart. SPY is hitting all-time highs. The Nasdaq is nowhere near it. Okay, that's it for today, folks. All right. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed that. Again, if you have any questions, let me know. Subscribe, set an alert if you haven't already. Trying to reach 200. That would mean a lot to me. All right. If you enjoy my content, please give me a thumbs or a like up. A like up. I don't even know what that means. A like up. A like. All right. As always, you can follow me on X at Gonzo719. And I make a lot of trading videos. You can check out my YouTube shorts and my TikTok, Gonzo719 Trader. All right. And remember, Elfie. Elfie might not come into play today, but he might come into play tomorrow. Be wary of the single prints. Okay. That toothpick is struggling if we go down there. All right. I'll leave you with that. Everybody have a great day trading. Stay green. Remember, tomorrow is FOMC. All right, everybody, take it easy.